Hey, and welcome back for another 35 and 35 Founder Insights, where we're trying to share our biggest lessons and mistakes over 35 years so that you can persevere and prosper on your own journey. So today, Sherry and I are back together, and this one is called, it's kind of very near and dear to my heart, it's called Complementary is Better Than Alike. The story here, especially for our founders out there, is, and this is really, take this to heart, you do not need two founders who do the same thing. What you need when you're building your team is two people or more that each bring a different skill set to the party. But you do have to have your own worldview that everybody sort of agrees on. And when you have that in place, different skills, same viewpoint, you're going to kind of have that magic that is going to help you persevere over time.
And there is no better story or example to just really re-emphasize what Yvette said than this one. And this one actually happened before we launched the business. But it was at this moment that I knew we could probably launch a business together. And we were working at a competitor agency. We were an account creative team, and I was relatively new at the agency, and Yvette didn't like that I came in and was now in between who she used to report to, and that meant she had to report to me, and she didn't like that. And
well, sure, there's that.
So we were actually getting ready for a work in progress meeting with our satellite office, who had to approve all of the creative before we presented it. And Yvette was kind of leading the charge on the creative. And I kept asking her, hey, can I see it? Can I see it? Because we had this presentation to do in 3 days now. And she kept saying, I'm working on it. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I'm working on it. And I just kind of let it go, let it ride. And when we came in for the meeting, I said to her that day, are you ready? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, let's go. And we walked into the conference room for the meeting, and she presented because I hadn't seen it yet. And it was fantastic. And the satellite office loved it. It was approved. And before we went to present it to the client, I do remember saying, that is really good. And imagine how great it could have been if I had seen it and known about it and maybe had some input and we could have presented it together. But I think the point of that story is we did see the client's business on the same level. We were after the same thing. And I think Yvette realized then I would trust her, and that was a mutual trust that was earned at that moment. And it's what helped us launch and successfully be in business for the next 35 years.
That's very true, Sherry. And it's why when we do our podcasts, if you guys have ever, listened to our podcast, you hear us routinely say in our intro that Sherry and I come from opposite ends of the spectrum with our perspective, but yet we always come to the same conclusion about what will make our clients succeed. And this was a perfect example where we saw this project very differently. But somehow, even though it was entirely differently, we both got to the same place. And like Sherry said, we knew we were after the same thing, which was to make the client happy and help them progress their business. So those are two really important things. And we implore you to find founder partners that meet that criteria. And it's not easy, but when you do, you're going to set yourself up for success, for sure.
And one more thing I want to add to that, Yvette, is that so many people have told us that if you do go into business with someone who is just like you and you both bring the same skill set and to the table, at some point you're going to look at each other and say, well, who's going to do this? And both of you are going to say, not me. And you know why? Because neither one of you are capable or want to do it. And so make sure you build your team correct. Find things that are compatible, not exact.
Well said.